Hey everybody, it's the Cronedog here, hosting one of those thousands of shows where you can tune in to see a recently released movie, reviewed by some guy in his chair. This week's episode is for Ninja Assassin. I still really can't figure out if this title is redundant, as ninjas tend to assassinate people anyways, or if it's about an assassin who specializes in assassinating only ninjas. I used to joke growing up that being a quarter Asian made me a quarter genius, but all jokes aside, I really do tend to gravitate towards martial arts flicks more than the general populace. This flick is about ex-ninja Raizo, who decides to make sushi out of his former ninja buddies after a disagreement with his master over training methodologies. He teams up with Europol agent Mika as she's hot on the trail of the ninja clan, and similarly death-marked, as Raizo had been. Raizo is played by Korean pop star Rain, who plays the role convincingly enough that when the fourth wall is broken to allude to him being in a boy band, I was the only one in the theater laughing hysterically. It was a little bit awkward since everyone else in the theater was all tense from all the violence and bloodshed going on. Naomi Harris plays Mika, believably enough, to sell the blend between strength and vulnerability, which she did pretty well in her other role as Celine in 28 Days Later. I'm not even going to bother to criticize the story on this one. Every martial arts flick is basically the same. The hero's father/mother girlfriend, whoever, gets kidnapped and or murdered, and the hero kicks the crap out of everyone between point A and B to either rescue them or get revenge. What everyone really wants to know about is if this movie had pretty decent fighting. The trailer made it look like it could live to the high standard of Jane McTeague's freshman outing V for Vendetta. It doesn't. Just as in a horror film, gore doesn't make it any better, gore doesn't substitute for good fighting either. The opening made me think that I was watching one of those Japanese gore flicks where body parts are flying everywhere, and they're just trying to splatter as much weirdness as they can. I don't mind violence, but I do mind gratuitous violence. Although I will have to give the movie props for being the first time I've seen a non-gratuitous scene of smoking. Well done. The first fight scene was entirely in the dark, the fighters are dressed entirely the same, and you don't realize who's who until the first head forgets that it belongs in some guy's body. And you presume that the good guy is the one with his head still on. The cuts to the film occur almost as frequently as cuts to the bad ninjas, and the result isn't pretty for either one. The audience and the bad ninjas end up losing out big time with that one. The biggest beef I have with this movie is that halfway through, they decide the ninjas have superpowers. They could heal themselves, they could teleport, they have superhuman strength, and among other weird things. People often complain to me, "Cronedog, it's just a movie, it doesn't have to be realistic." And yeah, and while that's true, I tend to think that a movie should establish the rules of the universe early on. Would anyone have enjoyed Man on Fire if Denzel Washington literally burst into flames like the Human Torch at the end, and Hadouken the villain at the end to save the day? Well, to sum up, decent acting plus predictable plots plus decent fighting equals
horrible editing.
Plus decent fighting equals about a 6 out of 10 on the scale that I just made up. 6 out of 10. According to the scale, based on the math that I just made up. If you're a huge fan of fighting movies, then give this one a try. For everyone else, don't let this movie make your money disappear. Cut your budget instead. Alright, it's been Cronedog, and I've been real. I'll see you guys around.